Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. So this recipe I'm going to share with you today is going to be a little out of order than my typical episodes because it takes 3 days to make. Now before you go, I'm not doing that. It's actually very easy. It's just you have to do a little bit each day. So what we're going to make over the course of the next 3 days, and I'll be checking back in every day, is a French toast casserole, and it's an overnight French toast casserole. And this is a great meal to make if you have company coming into town and they're arriving in the morning, or you just have a busy day and you're going to be having a big dinner and they're staying with you and you just want to be able to make a casserole that you can throw in the oven the day of being busy and it's done. So the first day is very simple, and what we're doing tonight is you get a loaf of French bread. Italian bread will work as well. And you cut it into cubes. So the first thing we'll do is cut this into cubes. And we're going to place it in this bowl for 24 hours. We'll toss it in the morning. It's in the evening. So I'll leave this overnight, and before I get up for work tomorrow and head into the office, I'll toss it. Then when I get home, I'll toss it again, make sure it's nice and dry before we actually do the casserole. And then tomorrow night, on day 2, we'll go over the ingredients we need for the casserole. So I'm going to start by cutting this right down the middle. Separating it out. Cut it this way. Slice it again. Slice it one more time to get those bite-sized pieces. And go along just like this. Just go piece by piece until I have it all cut and in the bowl. Alright, just the last little bit here. Okay. So I'm going to put this all in here, get it tossed around, and it's going to set out. Like I said, like right now it's 7 o'clock at night. It's going to set out. In the morning I'll toss it again, and then I'll probably have my husband toss it if he comes home from lunch tomorrow to make sure they get nice and dried out. And then tomorrow night we will actually make the casserole to go in the refrigerator for 8 hours. So I know you're going to see this in 2 seconds, but for me, it's going to be 24 hours, so I'll see you tomorrow. Good evening, everyone. So it's day 2 of the French toast casserole. I have left the bread for 24 hours to get nice and crusty. And now we're going to prepare the French toast casserole, all the ingredients together in order before we put it in the fridge overnight to be cooked in the morning to feed everyone. So let's get going and let's talk about the ingredients. So the ingredients we're going to use, as you know, was Italian bread or French bread. I prefer French bread, cubed and left overnight. That was the first. Then we're going to need 2 sticks of butter or half a cup of butter. We're going to need cinnamon. It's just going to be a pinch of cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 6 large eggs. 1 cup of brown sugar. 2 cups of milk. I prefer whole, but you can do 2% or 1%. And then just some other items you'll need is you're going to need a whisk, and you're going to need a bowl. You're going to need, I prefer for this, a foil pan. And the reason I prefer a foil pan is because it is very difficult to clean this up out of a glass or metal pan. So I highly recommend getting the disposable. And then just foil to cover it. And of course, we're gonna go to the stove top in a minute, so you will need a pot to stir things up. So, now that you know the ingredients, let's move over to the stove and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Okay, so what you're gonna need over here is just your cup of brown sugar and your half a cup of butter or 2 sticks. You're gonna turn the stove to medium, and we're gonna put the butter in first. I would suggest using a different whisk than the other one I showed you. I'm bringing on another one. You can use it just saves you cleaning, because we're gonna make a sort of caramel here and it's gonna get sticky. So. And now I'm just gonna kind of wait till the butter starts to melt about halfway down, and then I'll add my brown sugar. All right, so the butter is melted about halfway down. So I'm gonna add my brown sugar. I'm just gonna plop it right in there. Slowly just mix it in there. And now I'm not gonna leave the stove top. I'm gonna continue to mix until this is incorporated into a nice, thick, gooey, caramely glaze. There is absolutely nothing wrong with licking the whisk, as long as you don't use it again after you're done, because it is delicious. Butter and brown sugar is caramel. It's so yummy. You're not going to want to stop whisking. This is ready to be poured into the pan. All right, so let's get this poured into the pan. I brought a scraper with me too, to try to get every ounce of this into the pan. Put this into the sink. There we go. Scrape every last drop of that into there. Now, this is immediately after work. So I just came home from work, and I'm doing this before I serve dinner. Normally, I would let one of the children come in and lick the spoon for this, but I don't want to ruin their dinner, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to set it right into the sink this time. And then I'm just going to make sure all the corners are covered for this. It's kind of fun. Then I'm going to take all this bread and put it evenly over the caramel mixture. So I'm putting the 1 loaf of French bread that I kept overnight on this. Trying to keep it even. Now, we're gonna mix together the topping. Okay, so now I'm gonna put all the rest of my ingredients together. So we're gonna start with the eggs. I'm gonna put all 6 eggs in here. Okay, I put the 6 eggs in. And then I'm going to beat them with my whisk. All right. Now I'm going to put my milk in. Good. And you might be hearing my children in the background. Maybe I'll find it one of these days. Can you tell I'm tired? All right. And then 2 teaspoons of vanilla. There we go. Mix that in. And lastly, they say a pinch of cinnamon. I'm using a 1/4 teaspoon. You can also, if you are a big fan of nutmeg, sprinkle nutmeg in there. You can do a little more cinnamon if you're a big fan of cinnamon too. I like a 1/4 teaspoon. I think it's the right amount. And mix it up. Good. All right. So the last thing we're going to do is pour this over this mixture. And just nice and evenly. Now the last thing I'm going to want to do is make sure that all the bread is nice and submerged. So I'll just take a handy dandy whisk and just push this back down. Make sure it's getting nice and gooey. Way. Okay. So now that I have all the pieces just covered in the egg and milk mixture, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover it and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight. So let's do that. Get this cover on. Sorry for the noise. You can also use clear plastic wrap with this. However, it really doesn't stick well to the pan, so I don't use it. I like use foil. Okay, so we'll put this in the refrigerator, and although it'll only be a couple seconds for you guys, I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everyone. So it's day 3 of the French toast casserole. And it's very quiet in my house because my children are sleeping. There are dogs and cats in the background causing a little chaos, but we are ready to put this in the oven and breakfast will be ready. So we are going to take the lid off so you can see that it absorbed all of that liquid that we had poured over it. Now I'm going to do an optional step here. I like to sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar over the top to give it a little bit of a crusty feel. This is optional. You don't have to do it if you don't like that. I just think it gives the French toast a little pop. You can also resprinkle some cinnamon if you want over it. It is entirely up to you. If you want to get really fancy, you can mix brown sugar, cinnamon, and flour and do like a strudel over the top. But I'm just going to do a little brown sugar this morning. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop this in the oven at 450 degrees. And it's going to stay in there for 30 minutes and it's going to get nice and bubbly. We'll take it out, let it set, and breakfast will be ready. So I'll see you in 30 minutes. I'm going to sip my coffee, enjoy the quiet house, and get ready to go to work at Whitmer. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Alright guys, so it's done. It's nice, it's got a little crust to the top. It's perfect. I would let it set for about 10 minutes before I serve it. And then you just slice it, put it on a plate, cover it in a little syrup or even powdered sugar, and breakfast is done. This is a great dish if you're ever doing a potluck or you just want to drop something off to someone's front porch that's under the weather or can't get out of the house, or you just want to give them a pick-me-up. For me, excellent for big families. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope if you make it for your loved ones or a friend at some point, they enjoy it as well. And until the next time, we'll see you later.